HYPR had breaking news, volume, and a low float. So why did I lose money? Let's break down why HYPR was not high quality and how you can spot these red flags before taking any trades. Let's dive in. Welcome back, trader. In today's video, I'm going to go over HYPR and why this stock had news. It popped up on this news 77% up in a single candle. This is a 1-minute chart on TradingView and just a massive candle there, but yet faded right back off after and almost hit new lows. So I want to go over exactly why this happened and some of the red flags to look for before entering into our trades. We did have news on HYPR this morning, and it was exciting because it was with NVIDIA. So whenever we have news with NVIDIA with a lower float type of stock, it tends to be a recipe for success. But of course, we're not just news traders. We are technical traders. We're looking for a breakout with our technical indicators. If we get the setup we're looking for, yes, we can trade it. If it has news that adds to our conviction, right? Just makes us feel a lot better about that trade. This one did have news, and it had great news, right? Or at least it sounded like it was great news. But this type of price action here is not the type of price action you'll see following great news. So of course, this does have an opportunity to possibly continue throughout the day and possibly pop and get above this high of $1.88. However, the fact that it popped up and just fizzled out and just went sideways all day long is a good indication that this was not a great day trading type of stock. On this first initial candle, when we got this news at 9 a.m., this was the 9 a.m. candle, it moved up 77% in a single candle on almost 480,000 shares, or just over 480,000 shares, excuse me. HYPR had the news. If you caught it in the first minute, if you're trading maybe a 10-second chart or something like that, or you're an algorithmic type of trader with a computer-based trading system in place, maybe you caught that move. If you're a retail trader, most retail traders did not catch that initial move. This is a major pop and then drop. So this is a nice short opportunity for our short sellers on a day trade there. And then we got ourselves a little bounce. Now, this wasn't a huge bounce, but looking at this first green candle there, looking at about 19% up into this zone and area. So within a few minutes, again, this is a minute chart. So these are minute candles. So not a bad bounce either. So offered a nice short opportunity after the initial move, offered a nice bounce opportunity as well. And from there, really just kind of went sideways. And from there, it's not really feasible to look at for day trades, as it just doesn't really have the range that it had in the pre-market session. This range here from the top to bottom of this chart, it's almost 100% in a single candle there. So to see that type of move in a 1-minute candle, it's great, but we want to see continuation. We want to see it continue. We want to get into it, buy, sell multiple times, or even buy, sell, hold, and then hold for that continuation pop where it continues throughout the day. This was not giving that type of setup. It is a cheap stock. It was around $1 when it was alerted, so around 96 cents when it was first alerted down here. And so it is a cheap stock. So again, there's a lot of upside potential here. There's a lot of feeling behind this with the news, cheap stock, low float. It's got to go, right? There's everything pointing in the right direction saying it's got to go. I need to buy this, buy it, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, you're a bag holder. If someone bought way at the top of this move, you're still holding your position at this time. You're down 27% on that type of move. So that's not what we're looking for as a day trader, of course, unless you're shorting, of course. So if I get rid of this news now, we know that did have news this morning. What happened here? What can we find out? So if I pull over the data on Trade Ideas and we type it in HYPR, the first thing that I'm seeing here is we have a very, this is the wrong one, HYPR, if I can get it right. There we go. First thing that I noticed was we have a large float shown on Trade Ideas scanners. Now, this may not be completely accurate, but what I like to see is this to be pretty consistent along many platforms or different services. So if we see that one service is showing us 53 million share float, another service is showing us a 20 million share float, another service is showing us maybe a 30 million share float, I can assume that it's somewhere in that range, right? I can assume that it's somewhere there. Now, I prefer when all of them are showing the same thing. If I looked across the board and every platform was showing that it was 50 million shares across the board for the float size, then that would, again, add to my conviction and let me know, yes, it is around 50 million share float, so I can adjust. For me, that is a bit high. I like to trade stocks under 150 million share float, but I prefer the float size to be under 25 million. If it's above 25 million share float, we always tell our team that typically that's when I'm adjusting my size and my stop level. So if I'm trading live every day, Monday through Friday, I'm adjusting my size and stop level whenever trading anything with a larger float above 25 million. And that's just the way it is. And everyone should be well aware of that. If I see the float size is below 25 million share float, I may trade full size, but again, there's other conditions that need to be met first as well. So first thing I see here, that's a red flag. That is something that I need to be concerned with. So I can't go full size even if I want to. So I want to trade smaller size, something like a lotto, whatever. But this is the first red flag letting me know I need to mitigate risk here. This is not going to be my A+ setup. So even though it popped and it had news and it's exciting, right? Once we see that red flag immediately on our scanners, notifying on our scanner that is a large float scanner, that immediately lets us know, okay, be careful. So if trading this one, again, focus on risk mitigation. So as it popped here on the first candle, this is again a bullish vertical trend, which is a red flag to my strategy. So our strategy that we teach every day, the confirmation strategy, looks for 5 or more green candles or anything 15% or greater in less than 3 minutes to be a bullish vertical trend. And a bullish vertical trend is basically the price is too extended. And when it extends like this, we expect a pullback or a breather or something of the sorts where it's going to have a downtrend shortly after. Doesn't mean that it's going to be a complete reversal to the downside. If it's good news, it's a good stock, it should hold up and continue. But that being said, I don't like buying at the top of these moves. So that is a red flag for me. So seeing those two red flags immediately means I need to adjust my size and stop level. So I can either avoid this setup and look for a healthier setup elsewhere in the market, or I can adjust my size and my mental stop here in the pre-market session, or if I'm trading the regular market session, a hard stop to protect myself. Now for me, when I'm getting into my trades, if I'm getting in at say $1.50, then that's going to be my entry, right? Anything around $1.50, my support is then $1.50. If the stock then comes below $1.50, so if I mark this right here at say right there $1.50, that would be my entry line and level, right? If I were to get in at $1.50 on this candle going up and I didn't take profit on this move, which of course is a nice move, if you got caught around here, it's up 22%. If you're not taking profit, that's okay. Again, as it pulls back, this candle that closed under right there, that red candle, if you guys see, I'll zoom in there, make it a little easier to see. This red candle, once it closed below the 150, I consider that my bearish signal, right? And I have to exit my position no matter what I think, just get out of the way. So get out of the way, and before you know it, it drops 15% in a single candle. So apparently I'm not the only one with that idea. So half and hold dollar, we want to hold the 150. We want to then hold the $2 level, hold 250, right? Half and hold, half and hold. Those are mental levels that we're going to use to aid us in entry and exit. Now, that's just looking at the chart, the price action, the volume, and what just happened here. But let's take a look at with our indicators as well. So if I remove the lines that we have here, remove the two drawings, and just turn on the indicators, and it looks like a mess, but I'll zoom in here to see what happened. So on the initial candle, we had the spike right here in this green candle. So that is bullish momentum, bullish momentum, bullish momentum. This is our red bearish momentum candle. This is our pivot zone. It needs to get above that pivot zone. We know we have a cluster of resistance. So if we look at this right here, this is going to be a cluster of resistance. So if I type this, or excuse me, choose, let's see, I should have it. There we go. Cluster of resistance. It's a little vibrant, but you guys get the idea. Bring it to the front there. So this is a cluster of resistance. What that means is we have a conjunction of levels that are going to act as resistance. So for me, if I'm looking to get an entry into that zone or that area, I need to adjust my size. Again, it's another red flag. So it's my third red flag I'm spotting on HYPR is this cluster of resistance up here. And I can actually, let me dim this down a little bit like that. So cluster of resistance, I think you guys can see it well enough. So I need to measure out these moves. It filled the gap all the way up to the let's see, what is this level here? Zoom out to see it, 185. So it filled the gap to the 185, right? And now I want to see it above that 185 level for it to be confirmation and continuation. So I want to see it close above this level for continuation into this next zone. And this next zone is not bad. If we measure this zone out, that's about 10%. Not a bad zone to be trading. So I'd be watching that, setting alerts in here. But if I'm trading below this cluster of resistance, again, it's another red flag. So if I see all these red flags flags. I see the BVT. I see it's overbought. BVTs are showing up. Pivot zones are showing up. Cluster of resistance, right? There were so many red flags for me to just basically say, you know, as much as I want to believe in the news for this stock, I want to be careful, right? I want to be very careful. So even though we have news and it sounds promising, it's with NVIDIA, right? It's a low float stock. There's so many things here that are pointing in the right direction. I need to buy and hold. Well, I would be dead wrong and I would have lost a lot of money. So myself, I'm avoiding something like that and happy to say that I'm not taking a major loss and retaining profit from other opportunities throughout the pre-market session. That's going to be a better setup than this one. Now, if there's nothing else trading in the pre-market session, maybe this would get a little bit more life out of it. I think this morning we had a few stocks to be trading. We had CRVO, we had which was the other one? We had, I forget, ACON, I think this morning, ANTE. We had a few stocks this morning that were moving that were not bad. So we had better setups than this. So I think if we didn't have those, maybe this would get more attention. I think the news with NVIDIA is really just a trap for retail traders. So just be careful, guys. Be aware of that. You know, be aware of these situations. Anything that moves up in a single candle, you know, 77%, that's something to be wary of, right? It's extended. You know that. Anything that starts to pull back, you know, you can look for an entry. Here's your first green candle. Nice little move there. BVT, bullish vertical trend. And then all of a sudden we start to get a little choppy here. So just a quick breakdown. Had news with NVIDIA. It was a low float stock, not as low as we'd like to see it. So some red flags there. If you're aware of the red flags before you take your trades, you can better assess, you can better risk mitigate. And I think that's most important when we're trading low float stocks. So guys, if you found any value in today's video, give it a thumbs up and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.
If you stuck to the end of this video, you're a true legend. Check out our other educational videos to further your education today. Until next time, stay bullish and protect that profit.